Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, Chapter 44. When we last left our heroes, we found out a lot about Toka. Mainly that she's an Exceed, and that she thought that Happy was Natsu. So she's actually into Happy and not Natsu, but also kind of Natsu. It's a little vague. Also, she's taking Natsu and Happy somewhere, which might be a trap. I'm still not entirely unconvinced that she is not, that Toka and the White Wizard are not one and the same. That's been my theory for a long time, as you may know. Also, Laxus versus Ursa is still happening. So I feel like, judging by the end of last chapter, I think that's going to be the focus for this chapter. But anyway, let's jump right on in to Chapter 44, A Crimson Battle. And our cover photo is of Ursa as a dungeon explorer, treasure hunter. She takes all the treasures. Treasure hunter Ursa. Yeah, treasure hunter. Treasure hunter Ursa. Anyway, so you open where we left off last time, with Ursa using her the dragon slaying enhancement she used on Kyria back on the boat. Two of the strongest Fairy Tale members now battle. A new move. So Laxus had mentioned a new move last week. In order to defeat you, small attacks won't work. And Ursa readies her dragon slaying blade. Laxus readies his lightning powered fist, and just draws in all this lightning magic to him. And Ursa's shocked by all of the power coming from Laxus, but still readies her blade. And the two of them continue to glare each other down. Red Lightning Dragon Mode. Is this the thing he did against what's-his-face? Wall? Back during, Alvarez? Red Lightning? It's a power I got by chance during the Battle of Alvarez. So, yeah, it is. And it finally became mine! And he shoots the red lightning towards Ursa. She jumps away from it. And Laxus kind of dashes right up to her, and lands a fist in her gut and sends her flying. Gwah! And she's electrocuted and screaming, and she hits the ground. She gets back on her kind of kneeling, as Laxus comes flying at her again. And Laxus zooms toward her. There! And she manages to kick Laxus in the face. But it doesn't do much good because it just gives Laxus an easy way to electrocute her. Laxus slams down on her, kicks her back. So much power! And as she's flying back, Laxus continues to run towards her, but Ursa does this kind of flip to get behind Laxus, and then gets a cut on him. Gah! And Laxus turns back to face her. Ursa glares at him. The two of them go at it again. He makes it a punch that she blocks with her arms. We see her arms are now bleeding, bruised. And then he smacks her down into the ground. And it creates this huge crater on the chapel floor. And as Ursa's face is still in the rubble, she glares up at Laxus. How strong? How much stronger did you become, Laxus? And Laxus goes down for another fist, and Ursa backflips out of the way. But Laxus, from his fist, sends some more red lightning over at Ursa. And Laxus kind of grins, confident that he's won this, and there's this genuine fear in Ursa's eyes. And there's this big flash of light. And then we cut to Kyria. We cut back to Ursa, who's kind of is seemingly not too bad, all things considered. Also, I think her blade was just the dragon slaying magic in the blade, but it kind of looks like the red lightning, maybe? But Kyria wakes up now, and sees the two of them. And she sees their two fairy tale symbols, except Ursa's fairy tale symbol looks different for some reason. I'm not sure why. I don't remember that being a part of this armor. I don't know. Those guys. They were in the same guild? How fierce! I love that Kyria, normally, when someone wakes up after being defeated and sees the fight going on, the trope is that they're, struck with awe Kiria's just like, this is bullshit. This is so much bullshit. I cannot believe I'm dealing with this shit right now. So then, Ursa pulls out another sword? I mean, I guess those are two different swords, because the sword that she's been using has a pure black hilt, except for the tip that's white. But these are primarily white-hilted swords. And there's this, like, magic power emanating from Ursa's two new swords, and Laxus is shocked. Kiria shouts out, "What's that magic power?" "Wendy directly taught me. High Enchant." Oh, is she bringing out the little Eileen's henchman girls? No, she's not. Fire dragons' flames. Ice demons' cold air. She's enchanting them with Natsu and Gray's magic. Oh, so you enchanted Natsu's fire and Gray's ice into your swords. So meticulous. Lend me your power, Natsu. Gray. Fire and ice sword! And she now lunges at Laxus with the Natsu and Gray swords. And Laxus is like, there's fear in Laxus' eyes there. And she strikes him. And we see the Laxus is like screaming in pain. The fire and ice are like gashed across his body. Kiria like, what? Gah! But it doesn't work. Laxus like starts to smile. And he feels the wound up. Like gets some blood on his hands. The red of this blood is what makes the power of the red lightning. And just then, all the windows in the church shatter. And the two of them face each other down again. And Ursa just gets hit by all this lightning. And Laxus smiles, but Ursa still stands tall. That was stronger than I expected, Red Lightning Dragon. For how long will you hold back, Ursa? This is not a quarrel between friends anymore. Yeah, I was just getting warmed up. And Kiria just thinks, these guys, they're monsters. The fierce fight is even more heated. What will Ursa do against Laxus' full power? Alright. So I said in the past, during the Kiria stuff on the boat, that 100 Years Quest is using Ursa much better than the main series did, by actually making Ursa really struggle in some really fun fights. And this is one of them. But I'm also kind of two minds of this fight. So on the one hand, the fight on its own is really, really fun. You know, seeing the two of them constantly power up and still not be able to bring the other one down is thrilling. You know, like, I would have honestly kind of been fine, not super happy, but I would have been fine if, you know, the fire and ice swords had brought Laxus down. It's, you know, an emotion, it's a satisfying moment. It wouldn't have been great, but it would have been perfectly fine. And given Urza's, you know, main series fights that started out really good and then became, you know, stuff like Kyoka and Irene, I'll take fine when it comes to Ursa. But no, Laxus, like, stands tall, uses the blood to power his own lightning, and then hits Ursa with it full force, and then Ursa stands tall. And they're just like, I don't know I imagine in the end, Urza's gonna win this. But honestly, it could really go either way. I could see Ursa losing here to Laxus. So on that front, it's a great fight. My problem with it comes in with Kiria. You know, I talked before about how Ursa and Kiria are a really, like, great rivalry going, and that Kiria is a really good match for Ursa in terms of strength. That's why their fight on the boat was so good. The problem is, Kiria noting that, like, both of them are monsters, and that she doesn't really stand a chance against either of them, cheapens that. And I'm not sure exactly how much... we're seeing Diabolos kind of pull out all the stops here for Alderaan. So maybe we're kind of gearing up towards the end of Diabolos, and Diabolos won't actually last for the entire manga. Maybe. I already think that Toko won't. I think Toko's going to be done after the Battle of Alderaan. But Diabolos might be... they're still the Masters. I think the Master will come in a later dragon. But I feel like most of Diabolos is kind of going to be done here, which is too bad. So maybe it's fine that Kiria, is realizing how outmatched she is, because she's not going to be Ursa's big villain all through the arc, or all through the series. I mean, but yeah, beyond that, this is a really, really intense fighting chapter. There's very little dialogue besides battle grunts, but it's still just utterly thrilling. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever you want. Whatever makes you happy, okay? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!